Does your eyes look wonky and unappealing? Because mine did. Therefore, after studying my favorite artists, I learned things that helped me draw much better and more appealing eyes. So let me give you all the tips you'll need to improve yours, and then I'll show you how to draw step by step much better eyes. So first, let's start with simple proportions and placements of our eyes. So eyes naturally sit at around middle of our face. So between the chin and top of the head, it will be somewhere here. So if we measure the middle here, it will have the perfect placement for our eyes. So often while drawing, I'll just put a simple sphere for our head, then a vertical line, some simple jaw and chin, and then I'll just go from top to bottom, place middle, and this is our eye line. A little bit above that we have eyebrow line, but that's not for now. Also, the space between our eyes would be around the same as length of one eye. We can measure it if it's all right, but I here put it here and it's about the same. So he would be like this. Yeah, and often depending on the person, we can put our inner corners of our eyes at directly above the sides of the nose. And it's obvious you can play with these proportions. For example, here you can see that the nose is smaller depending on your style, and same as here. You can see here we have our inner corners, here are sides of our nose, and they're not perfectly aligned. So now let's go to the next part, which is structure. So first of all, eyes sit in eye sockets. There would be something like this, and it's pretty important to remember because from the side you can actually see that the eyes go a little bit in. So for example, here, boom boom, we have an eye socket here, one, boom. So from a side view, the eyes wouldn't be up here like this. They actually go a little bit in like that. So here would be the eye socket, here would be eye, and it's pretty much just a ball with eyelids around it, wrapping around that. And actually it's super useful to start with a simple ball while drawing eyes. But now let's quickly go over the components of our eyes. So pretty much from the start we have an eyeball here, then this part here is our iris. Now the black part in the middle of our iris is a pupil, and obviously above that we have upper eyelid and lower eyelid. Now this here is our waterline, and here we have a tear duct, and obviously eyelashes. And also, if you want my brushes, they are for free in the description below, and with them you can get 30 art tips that will help you improve your art in 30 days. So now let's go to the next part, which is about eyelids. So eyelids aren't flat, okay? They wrap around the ball, and because of that, this form like this. But also it's super important to remember that they have thickness. So for example, here you can see that from this to that, there's a thickness to it. But also for eyelids, what I like to use is a simple straight line, then another one here and here. And we have basic shape of our eye. And now for upper eyelid, you can use either 2 of lines or make it 3. So here would be a third one like this. And here you can see this pretty nice shape of 2 lines, and here would be 3 lines. Also, a good tip is to keep these lines here parallel to each other. So what I mean by that, if you want to make a pretty nice appealing shape for our eye, we can actually push this here like this, making this a somewhat parallel line, and we can actually make it. So I saw that in League of Legends splash arts. This is actually a common thing that I saw. But now, depending on the person, the outer corner of our eye can be either higher than the inner one or lower than the inner one. And with that, you can actually make your character feel more friendly, more sleepy, more aggressive. So if you have your eye and you make this line here below it, and you can see that it looks pretty tired. But now if we take the same eye and actually make the arrow point a little bit higher than the middle than the inner one, you can see that you get a little bit different reading on the character with that. And also you can do here, they also add a lot. So now if you change it like this, boom, more energy in this. But also above our eye here we have 2 planes. I mean, it's a one skin plane, but it basically from one part here is concave, it goes in. So basically from a side it would be like that, boom, goes in, and this protrudes, okay, so it goes out. So this would be like that, boom, and you can see here like that, and this here. And obviously depending on the character, on the race, it will be different. So here we can see a little bit, and again go in. Now let's go for the eyelashes, and this is one of my favorite things. So when I started drawing eyelashes and pretty much eyes in the beginning, what I would always do, I would just spam them, okay? I would do one, and I thought it would look good, it would look realistic, but to be honest it would just look like a bug, which is not really appealing. So here we can do a couple of things to make them more appealing. So first, you can probably see here, I just group them. So instead of 1, 1, 1, 1, I just make one like this, boom, and there another one, boom, same as the lower ones, boom, this here. But then we can actually just group them like that. So what I do is basically this one will be like one big one, and then 2 or 3 depending on how I feel on the additional eyelashes. And also right here, it's a good tip for eyelashes also. So if we have this line here that is kind of parallel to this, we can also make this go like that, and then also this part of eyelash here also go in kind of the same direction. And I saw that also it's really common in League of Legends splash arts. You can see another one, and here we have these groups. Here we have one kind of eyeliner, kind of eyelash. Also, eyelashes aren't perfectly straight, so they're not like this. So instead, they are actually curved, but also they taper. In the base, they are thicker, and at the end, they are obviously thinner. And they also don't go in the same direction like this. What they actually do, they're fan out. So like this. Obviously, that's too much eyelashes, but I just want to make a point. So basically, the closer to the sides, the more fan out and to the side there will be. So this would be like here. Now here would be just this, because it basically from a side, this eyelash just goes at you, so it's smaller. So from side it would be something like that. That's a side view. Here would be our eyes, boom, boom, from a side view. So here would be smaller, and obviously from that side we have an eyelash like this, boom. So it goes like that. Now for a simple eyebrows. So because eyebrows are super important when you want to tell a lot of emotions, a lot of, you know, feelings in your character. So these eyebrows are just perfectly for that. So we can pretty much just make our eyebrows just be 3 to 2 parts. So for example, here we can make one part, here a second one, and third one. Or we can just make it boom. Either one works also, or just 2. But I like putting this here because show more emotions. Like here you see, here we have one, then we have another one, and then third one, boom. And here obviously use CSI curves. So basically C curve, S curve, and I curve. There we have a C curve, then we can have like a straight, boom, another C curve. That would be an S, boom. But also while drawing eyebrows, so this point here, okay, this pretty much is the temple. So this here, these are basically like temples. Okay, this goes like that. Here we have our eye socket, boom. So this part here I like to make at around 45 degrees. So if we put straight line from this, well, like that, boom, then this would be around 45. It's not really here, but just this going through this would be 45, and it's probably more like 50 or 60. Now let's go to the simplification of our eyes. So pretty much we can do a couple of things. First we can simplify our eyes into basic shapes. So these are pretty much these shapes, like one line for, like 2 lines for upper lid, 2 for bottom, and other lines like that, boom. And we have simple shape for our eyes. That's one part. So that's one thing. Now, other thing, we can actually just erase some parts. For example, here we can erase the corners, and you can see that it's more common in more anime style, that the corners of characters are actually they just blend with the skin. Okay, so like that. You can also probably this fold here, just make it smaller. This corner here, boom, boom. So going here, you can just pretty much just show the hints of our light. So for example, here you see that we have a light that would go here, the shadow, boom, and we just show it. Also here you can see that we don't have corners, same as here. So another here, we don't have corners here, we have a simple line here, we don't have this line here, okay. Also the shadow is integrated in our sketch, in our drawing. We also have simplify eyebrows into basic shapes, into basic groups. Same here, we even have a highlight. So pretty much when drawing like simplify eyes, we want to just show the most important details. Here, boom. Now this, here we can do a highlight, make it darker. This, we don't even have to do the bottom eyelid, but we can do like that, boom. Maybe a hint of the upper lid, this like that. I love rotating the canvas. So this would be like that, so this curve here, boom. Now we can also simplify it to basic groups, our eyelashes, boom. And even we can put like one here, one that. Maybe not, that's too much, so one here. And we have a simple simplify eye. You don't have to put corners, you don't have to put lower lid. A simple hint for our upper lid. So this is how we simplify eyes. So now let's quickly just go to how to draw simple eyes. So I'll do one eye, but a good tip to actually get the other eye good and with good proportions and look not like something bad, we want to draw two eyes at the same time. But let's just focus on one for now. So what you can do is either start from a sphere or just start from basic eyelids. So two at the bottom, two at the top, and two at the bottom. And here we can just add this simple part here. You don't have to. Now thicken the upper lids, okay, to show a little bit of the eyeliner or eyelash, kind of in the same direction as the bottom here. Also don't use like a pure black when you're drawing eyes, because it will just stand out in a bad way in your drawing. That, okay. So now we can add a simple eyelashes. So just rotate the canvas, I really like doing this, and add one eyelash, could be another one, this, boom boom, and another one, and just make this be more right, okay, maybe a little bit thicker, maybe even more. Okay, now for bottom ones, do this. And what I also like to do is just smudge things and then go again with it, erase it. It actually helps you pretty much render in the sketching phase, which is pretty sick. These eyelashes actually can be a little bit bigger. Perhaps this can go like that. So next, just add a simple eyelid up in the bottom. We don't have to add the bottom one. So we can add a little bit of waterline here to add some detail. Okay, maybe like this. Okay, and you don't have to, you can skip the waterline. It just depends on what you want to do with your style. Like to go, I just like the way it looks, so I'll add it. Okay, then we want to go and add a simple iris. So just go and add one. Okay, boom. And this is, we can actually thicken. Now add a simple pupil in the middle, maybe a highlight, another highlight, erase that, boom. Now darken the pupil like this, make it really a ball, boom. Now we can darken here, we can maybe even put some shadows here like this. Now erase our highlight, boom, make it like this. Okay, can even add some texture to our eyes, maybe a little bit of shadow here, obviously here. And remember, the eyeball is a ball, so you want to shade it as a ball. So, you know, here would be a little bit darker like that, boom. And perhaps we can even erase this, show the waterline, and just a simple guide to draw a basic eye. And even we can actually erase it. Obviously you can always just go and fix it later. It's just a beginning sketch phase. Lastly, we can obviously add a simple eyebrow, the curve. Here we can also just sketch these things up, so it really helps with drawing an eyebrows. Move it so we actually have the 45-degree angle here. And a good, I guess, tip for drawing eyebrows, what I've been doing is basically just now decrease the size of your brush, just go paint these, now decrease the eraser, also go with these, and adds a little bit of nice texture. Also, I like to actually smudge and erase the sides, the inner sides of eyebrows, make them softer. These we can also like sculpt some parts here. Okay, depending on how realistic you want to go, you know. Okay, obviously we can now go and like maybe on a layer just add some shadows. And yeah, this is a simple, super simple eye. You can actually go here and make the corners of our iris a little bit darker. That add some shadow here. And then these are super simple eyes. You can obviously go later and refine them. Stylized, okay. And yeah, this is how you pretty much draw simple eyes. Now also, if you want to learn how to draw a face, I have a tutorial on my Patreon that you can check out, link below. So pretty much to recap, how you draw a simple eye is to first you just either start from a ball or you just straight go into the eyelids, okay. Then you add a simple thicker upper eyelid, okay, boom. Okay, then you go and add some eyelashes, maybe bottom eyelashes. Okay, you can refine a bit the shape, make this curve here, boom. Add some upper eyelids. Okay, you can then add some iris, you can add a waterline. Okay, then a pupil, boom. Okay, then maybe some highlights, just look at this, then darken the pupil, boom. Make some shadow here. We can actually make this just have the same value, maybe darken this, boom. Okay, then we can add some form to it, refine our sides, our eyelids. Okay, this tear duct here we can do, or we can just skip it, make this curve. Okay, now tear duct here, and yeah, we have a simple eye. And also obviously we can put at the end a simple eyebrow. So boom, just like that. Obviously sculpt with our eraser, this, boom, and we have a simple another eye. And also, if you want to learn how to draw bodies, you can check out this video here that will help you with drawing them. So thank you, bye.